Was I muted? Was I muted? Guys, hello. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I'm glad I only did that for about 20 seconds, looking like a doofus. But, anyways, we got a beautiful, beautiful day. Today, we're going to look into whatever this is because they're criming that thing. But another day, Tao doing amazing. River's something that's a little new we've been hearing about. But still, the macro doesn't look that good. So how long is this going to last? How long are we going to be pumping? You know, we've definitely got to take a look at that, guys. If you give me just a second, please. Okay. My apologies. I had somebody something happened in the Discord. My apologies. My apologies. I have a laptop. I have different stuff cooking, but like I said, my absolute apologies. Well, we got Freeman. Yeah, you were muted. Yeah, man. I noticed that a little quick. Thank gosh. Didn't want to look like a complete doofus. Give me just a second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. We should be good to rock and roll and rock. Let's see how this is going. But yeah, we're going to be taking a look at Tao. We're going to be taking a look at the overall market, what's going on with Big Daddy Trump, what's going on with Tao. Is it going to roll here? Is it going to keep going? We're going to take a look at everything. Definitely needs a little bit of a reset, guys. But overall, crypto's holding up pretty strong, which is a little interesting, I will say. Oil is being held down right now on a lot of hopium that the conflict overseas is going to digress. I'm not so confident in that, though. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see how that goes. But as always, guys, I couldn't do this without y'all. If you're over on YouTube, please hit the like button. And if you're not already part of the Finance Freeman family, I would appreciate it if you did subscribe. And if you're over on X, please tag a friend, tell them to come join us, especially a hater, because I feel like once people get in here and get to know us and stuff, how can they hate on us, man? How can they hate on us? But and then retweet if you don't mind. I would greatly appreciate that. And I'm trying to keep tabs on a few things, man. It's the market's very interesting right now. I'll say that. The market's very, very interesting right now. Don't really know what to make out of it, but sorry. One of my guys got kicked out of the Discord, and I'm trying to see if I could get him back in. I think sometimes if a payment doesn't go through, it's all automated, and I don't want anyone to get kicked out. Especially if it's like, you know, waiting on payday or short. I mean, I don't care, man. I'll let you in there. You're my dude. Been in there since the beginning. So but he'll have to wait. I'm not able to do it right this second. But guys, and where I've been doing all the trading, what I am wanting to do is try to catch the local top on Bittensor. There will be a local top. There will. And we should get a retest down to at least the 300 level. I would think so. But does it hit 400 before that? Does it, you know, if we go to a low time frame over here, this is 3 minute. You can see it kind of looks like an ascending wedge, which is actually kind of bullish. But we just have to see. We just have to see. You see, price has kind of been going up. RSI has kind of been going down. Typically, that would be a bearish divergence. But you never know. But if you're interested in a new exchange and want to try out the official stream sponsor of Finance Freeman and where I do all the trades, there's a QR code. You'll be able to find this down below in the YouTube description, or on X, you'll be able to find it. But for now, I will remove the banner. I will remove that QR code, and let's dive into it. So we're going to look into this. Whatever this thing is, we're going to look into it. I know that for a fact. Okay. Yeah, we're going to look into that. I'm very, very curious about that. But, you know, Tao just, it's like, when's the bullish news going to stop, right? But also, how much more bullish could the news get? You know, obviously it's an extremely, extremely bullish project, right? Like there's absolutely no doubt about that. However, you know, yesterday it was on Thread Guy. They've been on All In Podcast. There's a ton of mind share going on. You can see funding rates negative. You know, it's got to reset at some point. You know, it's got to reset at some point. And we went over what some of the key levels are in the Discord earlier. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But some more announcement, a partnership with Intel, like the Intel with one of the subnets. Like I think people are really discounting how large Bittensor can be. I said this recently, but Bittensor is not competing with the likes of, you know, another AI crypto or crypto at all. It's competing with TradFi AI, traditional finance, you know, like there's 128 different companies under this, you know, and it's just it could be very, very asymmetrical in my opinion. And sorry about that. But yeah, so let's just keep an eye on that, see how that goes. In some more crypto news, I'll get to this in a minute. Let me know if I got any cubic fam in here, and I kind of want to tell this little story. I think it's funny. It's only meant to be funny. So let's take a look at Bitcoin though, because we know everything Bitcoin follows absolutely or leads absolutely everything. So with BTC being the leader of the pack, we got to take a look at that. Right. And everything's holding up good right now. You know, I've said this before, Bitcoin trades like the NASDAQ. And right now, the NASDAQ's doing okay. I mean, I still think it's got lower to go overall, but it trades like the NASDAQ. And right now, people are on a lot of hopium. And we're going to go through this, what the potential Iran deal looks like, why I don't think it's going to go through, and all of that. But guys, before we get too deep into it, remember, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is financial advice. And always do your own research. Whether that's on Bittensor TAO, you did your own research at $149 when we found it in here on the live stream, or something different. But you can see BTC's just still in this bear flag, or I'm calling it a bear flag. We won't know what it is until it happens. Could it be the bottom? Sure. Sure, it could be the bottom. You know, could it be the local top? Yeah, it could. You know, I showed y'all yesterday the technical target, depending on where you want to measure it from. You can measure it from there. That's the more conservative, or you could measure it from here. Okay. And so basically you have your flag, and this is the same for a bull flag, just obviously the inverse. And so you would take the length of the flagpole and you would take that to the breakout point. Okay. And so on the right here is the more conservative one. and they actually crossed because I didn't draw it perfect, but 46K to 41, 42K. Tomato, right? Close enough. Close enough. Majorly down from the overall all-time high. So that's just something we got to keep an eye on. So that's what we got to keep an eye on. The high for Bittensor is 371. And as strong as this thing looks, it kind of looks like it wants to make a push a little higher. I don't know. We got to see. We got to see. It's kind of just in this channel right now. You know? Like, and I think it's a pretty, you know, it's a good RR, risk reward. Like, if I was to open up something at this price and have a stop loss at like 273, even though that's probably would stop me out, or 373. Golly, I keep saying 2. So what does that equate to? You know, but then on the flip side, you know, if this thing broke down and retested 300, you know, that's like a 1 to 20 risk reward ratio. I think I'm going to do it. I think it's a good enough risk reward ratio. And I'm not too worried about it. If I get stopped out, I'll try to find it again. I did this with Zcash, guys. It took me like 10 tries, but when I hit it, it was a 6-figure hit. So it was very, very good. But I'm not underestimating TAO. And in fact, all the trades I'm doing with TAO is just to buy more spot TAO. Like if I'm able to hit a big one, hit a lick, like the kids would say, I will definitely put it into more spot TAO. Look at this. It's challenging that previous all-time high or local high. Pretty crazy. And it was looking pretty weak earlier. But if we take a look at the RSI, bang, we're up there with like all-time high RSI on the daily. Now, I can stay here for a long time. And also just consolidating will lower it. If we take a look at this, this is about the all-time high the weekly RSI has ever been. But no, I've done good with trading TAO, shorting TAO at certain levels, but some of them are like 5-minute trades because it just, the dips get bought so quick. There's just such a, on spot, such a limited availability overall. I mean, it's, there's only what, 10 or 11 million tokens and coins in circulation. So when we come over here to BTC and we take a look at the heat map, you could see we got a lot of liquidity underneath us, and this is just going back the last 24 hours. But Ted posted this video. He's a good guy. And he said, BTC next dump is only a matter of when, not if. And so I tend to agree. I tend to agree with that. Let me see if he draws the bear flag, like the flag out to see how he measures it. I don't think he does. Yeah, he doesn't. But yeah, TAO's looking pretty bullish. It's now surpassed the high earlier, which we'll see if it's a liquidity sweep or it might just keep on trucking along. You never know. So, but that's a good lesson in what I'm talking about, right? Like this is a very low for me, right? Never financial advice, risk reward trade because it's at a high. See, look, okay, that was stopped out, but it's at a high, right? And so if I was to open up a trade, say midpoint right here, right? You don't know like where's your stop loss going to be, versus here you can have a very tight stop loss, right? And so now what I'm wanting to look for is for this not to be a fake out and for this to come back down and like test it as resistance or a support. The previous resistance tested as support. But it's really crazy how much strength Tau has right now, guys. And it's very dangerous to try to short it. I mean, there's been a ton of shorts liquidated, I'm sure, all along this way. I'm sure there has been just a ton. So very, very dangerous game. But Sui and Say are quiet. I like that. Which one do you like more? Do you like Sui or Say? I've known about both of them for a long time. The Say I'm not as knowledgeable on. Sui I'm knowledgeable on just because I like Lofi a lot. I like the guys that are behind Lofi a lot. One of the meme coins over there. But overall, from a grand, perspective, I don't know Say too much. And then also, it's just my strategy. Like I'm very conservative when it comes to this kind of trading, right? Like I could have just let it stay at the liquidation level or something like this because this very may likely come down, right? It could be a liquidity sweep, right? But that's just not my game. I like to play more frequent small losses, and then when I finally hit it, boom, a nice win. And so that's how I like to trade. But let's get into the overall global conflicts that we have going on. Y'all know I don't care about I do not care about politics really. The only thing I care about is really things that affect money. And now obviously the safety of my family and things like that. But overall, I just care about, our money, how to make money. And that's what I'm trying to do. And whenever we get done reviewing this, buddy, I'll go take a look at Sui and Say for you if you want to take a look at the chart. So, breaking. Iran has officially rejected the U.S. peace proposal and set 5 conditions to end the conflict. So this was 9:30 a.m. Okay. Iran's condition, immediate end to, like a ceasefire, obviously. Establishment of concrete guarantees against future conflicts. Okay, so the first 2 you could say that they could be agreed upon, right? That seems pretty easy. But then clear and determination, what is that? Determination, yeah, clear determination and guaranteed payment for damages. Like they're not going to do that. International recognition of Iran's authority over the Strait of Hormuz. That's just a straight in between like UAE on one side and Iran on the other side. Now, yes, Iran has the largest land mass for a single entity going there, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. An end to the conflict on all fronts, including Iranian proxies in the region. So this is like the Houthis and all of those. If we come over here and look at where people are betting their money, we can see that U.S. and Iran seize by the only one that has over 50% is May 31st, which is still 2 months away. About 1 month away will be about 50%, 49%. And this is coming over here looking at poly market. So how long is this conflict going to keep going? Because the largest thing we have to worry about is a global recession as a result of this conflict. And so if we come over here to Reuters, whatever they call it, we could see BlackRock CEO Larry Fink warns of global recession if oil goes to 150. CEO Fink said oil prices could reach 150 a barrel and cause a global recession if Iran remains a threat, even after the conflict ends. If there is a cessation of the conflict and yet Iran remains a threat to trade, a threat to the Strait of Hormuz, right? So even if, the conflict ends, but if no ships are willing to go through the Strait of Hormuz, which is where about 20% of the world's global seaborne oil flows, well, then oil could, continue to go up. If we come over here and take a look, yeah, Tao's wanting to, yeah, let's see if it can stay above that, if it can flip this level into support. Sorry, I'll put the comment up there. Let's go Tao ripping again. Yeah. It's going to have to cool off at some point. Just when. When's it going to cool off? So, but if we come over here, the reason I wanted to come over here. This is oil, not Brent oil. So, Brent oil is higher, but if we take a look at this, you see, this is just what Trump had the power to do in a tweet or a truth. A 20% drop in oil prices. And that's just how all of this is derivative traded, right? When you see gold crash 25% in an hourly candle or oil, do you think the price really changed that much from supply and demand, like actual commodity supply and demand? No, right? It was obviously, this is just perpetual or futures and, derivative paper trading, right? But if we look at where oil has been, and this is in the reason this is so important and the only chart that really anybody should care about is because everything's playing off of oil right now. If oil goes down, stocks go up, Bitcoin goes up. If oil goes up, Bitcoin goes down, stocks go down. And so this is really the most important chart. Hit 118. Hit 101. And this support is what we're coming up to right now as resistance for it. So you can see it was rejected underneath that. And I tried at 91.6 a barrel. And we went over yesterday how the latest intervention that the president wanted to do was actually pushed to 5 days from now, which is after market closes on Friday, which is very, very interesting how the president always does this. Monday, right before market open, he announces this delay. Okay. And it leads until market close on Friday. He announces it initially at market close. So the guy knows what he's doing. Definitely playing the markets. Definitely playing the markets. I'm going to put this back on Tao so we can take a look. Tao 273. Man, what if we get a run to 400 today? I'll definitely short 400. That seems like an obvious psychological level. Seems pretty obvious, right? But I wouldn't underestimate the power. And so then currently there's a lot of, I think there's the 82nd Airborne, which is currently going to Iran, or they're already over there in the area, I should say. And there's a lot of other things. Let's listen to this clip from CNBC. But it kind of looks like if there is going to be any kind of intervention, that it's lining up to happen on Friday. Like Friday evening, Saturday, hopefully be done by market. It's just crazy how all this is being planned around the markets. And I don't know if there's ever been somebody else in history that has had as much control over global markets as the current president has.
Well, Audie, whatever the president ultimately decides about a ground operation in Iran, all the pieces are now in the region to carry one out. And it's not just the 1,000 paratroopers, you have Marines deployed to the region, and then all the forces, the air transport, etc., that one would require to put troops on the ground, whether that be, you've heard the discussion of Karg Island, which is so central to Iran's energy industry, or perhaps along the shores of the Strait of Hormuz to secure the Strait of Hormuz. We don't know, and ultimately it's up to the president. But, well, Audie, whatever.
So you see, everything's in the region. Now, lucky for us who are into crypto, we can't sleep over the weekend because crypto's 24/7, 365. And so now let's look at what the price of oil does to future interest rates, fiscal policy. You know, one thing we've been waiting for is for the new Federal Reserve chair to get in and to be able to cut interest rates. Okay, to be able to cut interest rates, make liquidity flow, pump our bags, all of that, right? Well, unfortunately, if we look, there is now a greater chance of a rate hike, an increase in interest rates, than there is a rate cut in this next meeting. If you look down here at the bottom, and I'll try to zoom in for y'all, you can see right here that a month ago, February 25th, so exactly a month ago, there was a 15% chance of a rate cut, okay, with an 85% chance of maintaining rates. 1 week ago, it was just a 100% chance that there was going to be no rate cut, no rate hike, anything. But now look, last week, it was almost a 10% chance of a rate hike. Now it's a 4% chance. And this is because the price of oil is one of the leading factors of CPI data and inflation. And so let's go look a little more. So the first meeting that we are expecting the new Fed chair to be in is June. Now, this is assuming that he is confirmed by Congress, but you can still see that there is like no chance of a rate cut. This is in June. There's even a slight chance of 2 rate hikes, 2 quarter-point rate hikes. Let's go from a year from now, March 2027. So what this is telling us is that the highest odds are that in a year from now, we're going to have the same exact interest rates of now. But there's a higher chance if you add these two up together, okay? This is 19.2%. This side over here on the left is 11.8%. So there's a higher chance that we will be higher interest rates than now than lower interest rates, which is what Larry Fink is talking about here. If oil goes to 150, we're in a recession. So we need to take a look at that. We need to keep big eyeballs. Open them things up. U.S. working to arrange Iran peace talks in Pakistan this weekend. Italy said to plan cutting growth forecast to as low as 0.5. I'm assuming that's 0.5 GDP. Remember, our target in the U.S. is like 3 GDP, 3%. United Nations chief urges U.S. and Israel to end Iran conflict and Iran to stop attacking Gulf countries. Yeah, I mean, we are on the cusp of a global recession. And the only thing that is, holding it back a little bit is the tweets from the President of the United States. Let's look at TAO. TAO came down a little bit. It was like 375. So let's get to some of the comments. Are we still going to 50? I think so. Yeah, nothing goes down forever. So we go down. Recession, income prices 50. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of my base case. We were actually on stream when this hit up here, and I was like, golly, that'd be a good short opportunity. Again, like I said, because even if it goes past it, right, very easy to say, okay, I'm going to set my stop loss 2% high. But, you know, the flip side, that's a 1 to 10 ratio, right? Or if it goes down to 50, that's a 1 to 30 ratio. So it's just all about mitigating risk. All about mitigating risk. But there's really no difference in this chart than the previous chart. So let's take a look. Let me find my pattern. Okay. So there's really no difference in that. And in fact, let's copy that and paste it. And then see if we can just drag the whole thing. Kind of fits like a glove. This one's a little wider. But you see, there's really no difference in the two patterns. And if we look and we come to the daily, and if we take this and we measure the flagpole and we come to the breakout point, let's straighten that up a little bit. You see it overshot it by a little bit, which, like I said, it's just technical analysis, right? So you can never be too picky on it. So right there, drawing it horizontally. That was on, wow, that's to a T. That target was 59 and it came to what, 59.9. So if we do the same thing, which is almost like the same size, look at that. And we take this down and put it at the breakout point right there. It takes to like 44, you know? And then if we come through and last cycle we bottomed at like 15 or 16. If we draw a fib up, 786 is right here at 40. But I think that looking at this level right here, that area from 2023, we had a high right there and then we had a low, and kind of extending that over. I think that area looks good. And then if we take it to the meat of it, so not counting this low wick and not counting that high right there, if we kind of do that, to kind of take it to the meat of it, to tighten it up a little bit. You see, that takes us like 41 to 46, you know? So that's kind of my base case, you know? And it doesn't have to be in a straight line. This was in a straight line, right? It doesn't have to be in a straight line like that, you know? It could be something like, You want to save that squiggly? Tell me if I'm right later. But yeah, this is over on Blofin, guys. If anyone's looking for a new exchange, I put the QR code if anyone's interested. But let's go look at a kind of a long-term, because that only goes back to the life of, Blofin, which is about 2 years. Very good reputation. But if we come over here, come on. I hear my computer fans ramping up. You're running us hard, Michael. We kind of had a similar pattern back here. You see, we had what you could call was a bear flag right here. And then we dropped down kind of into another bear flag. And then we dropped down and we kind of had another bear flag. And then we kind of stair-stepped down. And then we kind of stair-stepped up, kind of forming an inverse head and shoulders right here. And then that's what finally. But you see from the bottom to where we really got into like probably the start of a bull market, which I would say was like right here. See, that was a year, 350 days of going from 16 to 31. So, I mean, it was a double in price, right? So that's good if somebody was to catch the bottom. But I would say this was the point, this breakout right here was the point that a lot of people thought we were, going into a bull market. So the name of the game is surviving. If we look the top of this bear market to the bottom was 364 days. And so then from the bottom to what we would call a new bull market was like 700 days, right? So right at 2 years. And so if we were to look at that, 350 days would be the bottom in September. And then somewhere around September of next year would be the start of like the bull market. I think that with this president, it's very hard to think the market's going to be down for a very long time unless we go into a global catastrophe, a global recession kind of thing. Then it may be out of his control. Whenever he's not able to tweet and move the markets anymore, that's when we're in trouble. Let's look at, say, any update about upcoming launch? No. Everybody that's serious isn't launching anything right now. The biggest thing that I'm into is like meme wise, like the only thing I'm into, I'll show you real quick, because I do love my meme coins. But the only thing is Aircoin, and I'll tell you why. When they contacted me, because I hadn't been talking about any meme coins, and they CTO'd this project back here. Okay, they CTO'd it back here August of 2025. So if you take a look at that, they CTO'd it 215 days ago. If you go back and look at August of 2025, Solana, was like over $200, and then it went to 250 after they CTO'd it. So it was like 250 somewhere in here. And then if you take a look, the team's stronger today than they were back there. The 40% of the supply is locked by the community, not by the people itself, or not by the team itself, right? 40% was locked by the community via this airlock right here. So the community just comes here and they lock their tokens. And then there's a ton of lore behind it. So there's this tweet right here from an OG Bitcoin guy, Cryptorist, from 2014. And nobody knows what this means, but it says evolution, Aircoin, Fartcoin, Artcoin. And we know there's Fartcoin that went to billions, right? And then, but Aircoin is up here. And then you could see all these people commenting like Molly and stuff. This was September 16th. And if you go in the Discord right now, I guarantee you Molly's posted something within the last hour. Like, she's extremely active, so the community is just 6+ months strong in a bear market, because we've been in a bear market for like a year for meme coins, right? And so the fact that they're holding up so well, ranging in this category. There was even a guy that had bought like 5% of the supply way back here that's not a part of the CTO team, and he was dumping the entire time. I think he's completely out. Just the fact that they've done all that, it's really the only project that I have confidence in sleeping on, and here's this downward trend line right there. Here's this trend line right here. It's kind of just ranging in this area, no fake volume. I have a full video on this. If anybody's interested, they can go look at it, and join the Telegram. The Telegram's awesome. They something happened to their old page, and but this is the airlock page. They moved it over to the Aircoin. This guy's name's Breezy. He's the mascot. But this is like people locking coins right here. I think this might have been the dev, like 30K worth of coins for like 90 days. And so, yeah, and here's the video about Aircoin and stuff. So, yeah, that's really the only thing right now. Anybody that's launching meme coins right now, I don't trust them. But OG CTOs, I like. And there's just a ton of lore behind it. And look, this guy, he must have sold all of his BTC and just left. Look, he's been gone since September of 2014. So there's just a ton of lore, like a ton of lore behind this project. And it's on bonk.fun was where it was launched before they CTO'd it. And they opened up early before anyone was doing it, a USD1 pool, which is the stable coin that World Liberty Financial and Trump's behind. And so it's bullish. I like it. Full disclosure, I've got about 3 million tokens, I think, which is about 0.3% of the supply. So, I mean, down, obviously. If we go to a lower time frame, this looks okay. Low, higher low. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Now, if you look at the all-time chart, it looks bad, right? But just talking about short-term chart, if it's able to break above this and flip this level into support. And the other thing you had was SUI. Let's go take a look at that. Very similar. Low, higher low. I know a lot of people still very bullish on SUI. we just got to get demand for the ecosystems, right? And this kind of looks like a inverse head and shoulders a little bit. We just got to get demand for the ecosystems, guys. That's why TAO's doing so good, you know? TAO's doing so good because of the demand for the ecosystem, for the subnets, you know? Let's see if we poke back up here again. I might try my hand at another one. Grabbing the top. It's just hard. But RSI is high. Higher than Cheech and Chong in the 70s. But it could stay up here for a while. 3 days. Almost the highest it's ever been. Shorts are piling in though. And that's what could get us a real push. If shorts pile in and we get spot buying pressure, you know, 400's right here, but then this downward trend line, which would be the ultimate opportunity, is like a 450. But from a macro perspective, what we're looking at right here is a high. Well, let's go back even further. So let me clean this chart up. So from a macro perspective, what we're basically looking at for TAO is a high, a lower high, about an even low, a lower high, a lower low, and currently a lower high. Right? So from a macro perspective, you know, nothing's with the structure's really been invalidated. Right? And so until we are able to take out this 540, you know, I'm not saying it's going to make a lower low. I'm not saying it's going to make a lower low, but potentially, you know, we can't write that out. What do you think about Cardano? So I've never said Cardano was a good investment. So just putting that out there. I've never said anything's a good investment, really. I just talk about what I'm doing. But I like Charles Hoskinson. And, you know, ADA's just such underperformed. You know, if we look at ADA, chart actually looks okay. You know, but if you look at the stable coins on Cardano, like let me go to DeFi Llama. And I hope all this changes. I hope midnight they're new, and I'm not entirely sure how the two mix together. How it's supposed to midnight's supposed to help and yada yada yada. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure with it. But if we come over here and look, it just pains me that this is a $10 billion market cap project with 143 million in total value locked. Stable coins, $50 million worth of stable coins and a 10 billion market cap project. Like, how do they not have like native USDC, native USDT? I've seen they did something recently, like some version of USDC or something like that. You know, Charles Hoskinson, though, he's one of the best in the game. $2,000 worth of fees in the last 24 hours. The blockchain's made $424. I mean, if you look at this, the answer would be no. Just being honest. $10 billion market cap, 12.2 fully diluted, 48 million stable coins, 2K in fees, and they didn't even make a used car payment and fees yesterday. I don't know. It would be a dream to get Charles up here, though, and ask him about stuff. Maybe we try to get him up on the stream. We'll see. I want to get the guy from TAO Stats up on the stream. Am I too extra, guys? Let me know. Let's watch this. But is it? These are some crazy price predictions that we are hearing about for TAO. But is it out of the... You want to see what I look like whenever I'm making content? So I got a few different cameras. Okay, this is my webcam. And then I have another camera over here. But I'm like this. I don't know if you can see me here. Let me move this. Okay. Can you see me? Okay. So I'm like sitting right here and I'm talking to this camera. These are some crazy price predictions for... And you kind of feel weird when you're a content creator, making content, talking into a camera like a doofus. And then my son's like, Daddy, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? It's probably what he thinks now. Like, Dad, what are you doing? Question.
$500 billion market cap for, TAO, which would be roughly, if it's trading at 2 or 3 billion, let's put it at 2.5 billion. That's a 200x from here.
Or is Bittensor TAO the most asymmetric opportunity that we have ever had in cryptocurrency? In this video, we're going to break down some Bittensor TAO price predictions and not just some fluffy numbers thrown out of the air. We're actually going to break it down by reasoning and how it could be the most undervalued. So I don't want to make you listen to the whole video, but I do want to show this part. Take a look at that. You could see at the current market cap of Solana, and keep in mind, this is decentralized artificial intelligence. It would be a $5,300 Bittensor TAO. At the all-time high, that would be $13K. If we come and take a look at something even more, saying AI continues to accelerate and it passes up Ethereum, that is a $27K Bittensor TAO. At the all-time high, that's a $60K Bittensor TAO. And then let's say that all of these big players that you start hearing talk about, BTC, and some of them even posted TAO over BTC. Let's say they get on CNBC, they go all around the TradFi world, and they start saying Bittensor TAO is AI's Bitcoin. Look at this. Currently 146K for Bittensor TAO. And the reason why I don't think any of these crazy is because
This is
any
key. Listen
other
to this.
project that has launched in crypto since Bitcoin was competing within cryptocurrency, but Bittensor TAO is not competing within cryptocurrency. It is competing within TradFi because these are all individual artificial intelligence companies that have the parent company or umbrella being Bittensor TAO. And so whenever we come look at something like OpenAI, which is a large language model, ChatGPT, that we use, that could potentially be a subnet on Bittensor, you know? And so it's really, really mind blowing when I start looking at the potential of this. And I'm becoming more and more of a Bittensor TAO maxi. You can see this one large language model, not Gemini plus OpenAI plus XAI. No, one company, OpenAI, is one to IPO at around $1 trillion valuation. And they don't have a full product suite, right? That is one, the equivalent of what could potentially be one subnet. Okay. And when you look at BTC's overall market cap of 1.4, and that's one, I mean, guys, getting somewhere in the middle is not, you know, crazy to me. And maybe call me crazy. It won't be a smooth ride. It's going to be up and down, but the way that artificial intelligence is accelerating and the drive in demand for decentralized AI and not having these single large companies worth trillions controlling it, I think is a huge demand. And even from the business use case, it's a lot cheaper. They are able to provide services via these subnets for 80-90% discounts than if.
I don't know, guys. I don't think I'm crazy. Still think we need a reset, though. $375. Amen. Let's go to the hourly. Golly. Look at that hourly chart. RIP to the shorts. RIP to the shorts. Look at this thing. Massive. But let's put RSI up here. And so RSI is going down. Price is going up. You see, from this point of the peak, we have went up. About 4%. And so what a bearish divergence is RSI going down, price going up. Because what it shows is that the buying pressure, you know, the strength of the buying is going down. It's just selling pressure isn't accelerating. And so I don't know, maybe I put too tight of a stop loss, guys. Look, we'd be in the money now. See how it reacts right here. Come on, let's try it again. Let's try it again. And I'm going to hit it again. Let's hit it again. We gonna find it. And then I'm going to take all that and I'm going to buy spot TAO and I'm going to stake it or put it in my tangent. But like I said, guys, what I'm doing is not what you should do. I'm not a financial advisor. But let's go see what's kicking on some news. Anything that's new. Three wallets from this cluster place 100K bets on a ceasefire. Yeah, imagine that. Just walked out of a House Armed Services briefing. Let me repeat, I will not support troops on the ground. Who is this? From Waffle House to Citadel? South Carolina. I don't know who she is. She's a Republican, though. And she said she will not support it. The Los Angeles jury found Meta and YouTube negligent in landmark trial, awarding $3 million in compensation. Dude, I became addicted to social media. I want to sue. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Do they have Meta? Meta actually makes a lot of money, man, from like Facebook. Currently down 25%. If this line breaks, it could go down a lot, though. I'm definitely looking at getting this in my IRA. I'm still all cash in my IRA, guys. Hate Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. Can you stake? No, man. So I haven't really staked much. I'll be honest. I'm fairly new to the ecosystem, right? I found TAO as a trade. I found Bittensor strictly as a trade. The chart looked good. I wanted to buy it. And I knew about it back when it was like 600-700, but I never bought it. But I got into TAO strictly as a trade. Okay. And then I started looking into it and I was like, oh, wow, this is legit. Like, this isn't, some fairy tale. Like, this is a legit project. And so I would like to have someone to come up to explain TAO stats. This app right here. This is where people get subnets and all that. I contacted the founder of TAO stats. I would love to have him up on stream because there's a lot of metrics you have to look at. Like all this subnet data, if you can see, it's like root proportion, all this different stuff, validator a day, emissions a day, incentive burn, miner a day, UIDs and stuff. So I've got very little TAO on here that I'm playing around staking it, mainly just like I'm not even putting like buy alerts in the Discord. It's strictly just so I can learn how these emissions go and all of that. You can't stake on Tantrum. I'm holding all of mine on this Tantrum right here. And there's also ways that people could stake through like Kraken or things like that, where basically they stake it, whatever percent they get, they give you a cut of it, like 4 or 5%. That's seen as safer staking, I guess, for normal people. But yeah, let's take a look at this, guys. I'm very bullish TAO long term. But like I said, we do have RSI going down while price is going up, which is a bearish divergence. And after all, you can't look at this chart, no matter how big of a maxi you are, and say that we don't need a little reset. But the key in all of this is not, are we going to have a successful short? Is Bittensor going to go back down to 250? Is it going to go back to 3? None of that matters. What matters to me is seeing in a bear market when everything is going down, seeing a project that was in the 40s a few weeks ago climb up to number 25 right now. It passed Zcash. That's showing strength against a Bitcoin. It's artificial intelligence, and that is what I am looking at. And so that's the most important thing to me. I'm not short-term minded when it comes to this. These are long-term, hold for me. I think that, there is crazy potential in Bittensor TAO. And I think that never financial advice, but any good dip we get, I'm going to get more, even if that's, up in my average, which I don't hardly ever do just because I'm greedy, I guess. I like to buy the low, the absolute low. I'm not really a big DCA guy. I'm more of a wait till the Pico bottom guy. As you could see in me getting this at like 149. Not bragging about that or anything. That's just the way I like to do it and everything. But we've got to watch the macro, guys. Macro is going to affect everything. Let's see if there's any new news right now. That's crazy. You can restrict people from different places they live. That kind of seems wrong, man. Iran rejected a proposal. Yada, yada, yada. Sounds like cope. This guy was telling me, maybe he's in here watching as a hater. I don't know. Where is it? This guy right here was telling me like a week ago, oh, TAO's going to go down. It's probably like 200 at the time or whatever. And then he commented on this earlier and he was like, that's crazy, shilling nothing else. It's not a coat, but a warning to others who have a head on their shoulders not to buy that BS. In no way has a potential for 100x. Let's do something. I'm a little petty, guys. I just like to have fun. Watch. I'm making something real quick. I'll show you all in just a second. Okay. Where's our buddy at? Look, wait for the dip right here where he posted that. And since then it went up $100. Is that too petty, guys? I just like to have fun. I just like to joke around. Okay, the White House responds after Iran adjusts for a 15-point plan. All right, let's look at Tao short term. Nah, I just like having fun, man. I don't mean nothing by it. Like, I don't mean, you know, I'm just, man, I don't care if he's in it or not. If he's not, yeah, I don't care. I just, I like to have fun. So yeah, let's kind of like this. Obviously, it doesn't want to lose this trend line, I would say. Doesn't want to lose this, especially with RSI going down. See, RSI is going down. Price is going up. Classic bearish divergence. It swept this high. Could be a liquidity sweep. Let's see. Could fall pretty hard if it breaks it. So we will take a look, guys. I love y'all. As always, tomorrow we will be back 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I want to say thank you to all of y'all on YouTube, on X for watching. If you're over on X, please retweet the live stream. It's not too late. Someone can go back and watch it. And if you're over on YouTube, please click the like button and click subscribe and join the Finance Freeman family. I appreciate you guys more than you know. I truly do. And shout out to our stream sponsor, Blofin. They're where I do all my trades. If you happen to be looking for a new exchange, you can find it in the description below or post it up underneath the stream. We will see you tomorrow. I love you all.